There is a moment in every recovery journey when shame tries to step between you and your healing. It tells you that your mistakes define you. It tells you that your past disqualifies you. It tells you that you should stay quiet about the pain you've carried. But the truth is this: recovery isn't about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about courage. It's about choosing to rise even when you don't feel ready. Shame has a funny way of convincing you that you're the only one struggling. It tells you that needing help means you failed. It pushes you into silence, into hiding, into carrying everything alone. And the longer you listen to that voice, the heavier it becomes, until it feels like you're dragging the weight of your entire past behind you. Shame isolates. Shame suffocates. Shame keeps you from reaching out, from speaking up, from taking the first step toward healing. But recovery begins the moment you stop letting shame have the final word. Recovery isn't a weakness, it's strength. It's the moment you decide to tell the truth about where you are, not to impress anyone, but to finally breathe again. When you choose honesty over hiding, courage over silence, and healing over shame, that's when recovery truly begins, and there is no shame in that. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Faith Between the Lines, and I'm Scott. Shame has a way of sounding like certainty. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It slips into your thoughts when you're tired, when you're hurting, when you're trying to make sense of how you got here. And it says things that feel true because they're familiar. It tells you should have known better. You should have been stronger. You should have stopped sooner. You're the reason things fell apart. Shame always speaks in absolutes, always in blame, always in the language of you're not enough. And when you're at the bottom, those words can feel like facts. They wrap around you like a heavy blanket, the one that doesn't warm you. It just weighs you down. Shame convinces you that your story is too messy to be spoken out loud, that your pain is something you have to hide, but your healing is something you have to earn. But here's the truth shame never wants you to hear. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. You're not the lowest moment you've ever lived through. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are a human being who went through something hard, maybe something that broke you open, and you're still here, still breathing, still trying, still reaching for something better. Shame wants you to believe that your struggle disqualifies you. But the truth is your struggle is the very thing that makes recovery possible. It's the doorway. It's the beginning. It's the moment you realize that you can't keep carrying everything alone. And when you start to see that shame is what it is for what it is, a voice, not a verdict, something shifts. You begin to understand that healing doesn't come from hiding. It comes from honesty. It comes from saying, this is where I am, and I am ready to move forward. Shame loses its power the moment you speak the truth. And the truth is, you are worthy of recovery. You are worthy of support, and you are worthy of being seen, even in the places you once felt too tired to hide. Recovery is not a character flaw. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that recovery means we failed. That if we need help, it must mean something was wrong with us. That if we're struggling, we must have done something to deserve it. But that belief is just not true. It's conditioning. It's the residue of old stories, old environments, and old expectations that were never rooted in compassion. And when you carry those beliefs into recovery, they become another layer of shame that you have to peel back. Because recovery is not the character flaw. It's not a sign that you're weak. It's not proof that you're broken. Recovery means that you survived something that tried to take you out. It means you lived through a storm that could have swallowed you whole, and you're still here. Still breathing. Still fighting for clarity, for dignity, and for a life that feels honest and whole. People who have never been to the bottom sometimes misunderstand this. They think that recovery is about fixing something. But recovery is not about healing something. It's about tending to the wounds you never had the space, the support, or the safety to address before. And here's the deeper truth. Recovery is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one. It's the moment you stop running from yourself and start returning to yourself. It's the moment you stop pretending and start living with honesty. You're not starting over. You're starting again. And that's different. Starting over means you erase everything. Starting again means you carry the wisdom, the scars, the lessons, and the strength you've earned along the way. Recovery is not a punishment. It's an invitation to rebuild your life with intention. The invitation to treat yourself with compassion you've always deserved. An invitation to step into a vision of yourself that isn't defined by the past, but shaped by resilience. You are not in recovery because you're flawed. You are in recovery because you are courageous enough to heal. I know for a fact that one of the hardest parts of recovery isn't the work itself. It's letting yourself be seen while you're doing it. There's a vulnerability in saying, I'm not okay right now. There's a risk in letting people witness the part of your life you used to hide. And for many of us, that feeling is more frightening when the recovery is work itself. But because when you've spent years holding everything together, years pretending that you're fine, years building a version of yourself that looks strong from the outside, the idea of letting someone see the cracks can feel unbearable. But here's the truth. Healing doesn't happen in hiding. Hiding is where shame grows. Hiding is where fear multiplies. Hiding is where the old stories keep repeating themselves over and over. Recovery asks you to step into the light. Not all at once, not perfectly, but honestly. It asks you to let someone in. It asks you to tell the truth about what you've been carrying. It asks you to stop performing and start living. And that takes courage. Not the loud kind, not the dramatic kind, but the quiet, steady courage of showing up as you are. The courage to say, I need help. The courage to say, I can't do this alone. The courage to say, I'm trying even on the days I feel like I'm failing. When you let yourself be seen, truly seen, something shifts. The weight you've been carrying starts to loosen. The shame that once felt too heavy begins to fade. And you'll realize that the people who matter don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to be real. Recovery isn't about pretending a polished version of yourself. It's about honoring the truth of where you are and trusting that you're still worthy of love, support, and healing. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to carry everything alone. Letting yourself be seen is not a weakness. It's one of the strongest things that you'll ever do. And you are worth the climb. There comes a point in recovery when you realize something powerful. You're not doing this because you're being punished. You're doing this because you're worth saving. For so long, shame made you believe that recovery was a consequence, a sentence, a reminder of everything you did wrong. But that's not what recovery is. Recovery is a gift. It's a doorway back to yourself. It's the moment you decide that your life matters enough to fight for. It's the moment you choose healing over hiding. It's the moment you stop running from your past and start walking toward your future. And that walk, that climb, it's not easy. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll wonder if making any progress at all. But every step counts. Every breath counts. Every honest movement counts. Recovery isn't measured in perfection. It's measured in persistence and showing up and trying again and choosing not to quit on yourself even when the old voices try to pull you back. And here's the truth you may not have heard enough. You are worth the effort it takes to heal. You are worthy of the time it takes to rebuild. You are worthy of the patience it takes to grow. You are worthy of the life waiting for you on the other side of this work. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving, one step, one breath, one honest moment at a time. Because recovery isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about remembering who you are and who you are becoming. And you are worth the climb. Reach for your higher power. God has his hand on you. You are not walking this path alone. As a reflection of this episode, I wrote a poem for it called No Shame in Rising. I carried the weight of the things that I had done, thinking the darkness had already won. But shame is a shadow that fades in the light, and healing begins when you step into sight. I'm learning that mercy can live in my chest, that broken can breathe, and the weary can rest. I'm learning that grace doesn't ask me to hide. It meets me in truth with the door open wide. So here's to the days when I can barely could stand and still find the strength to open my hand. Here's to the climb and the courage it takes to rise from the ruins the shame never makes. I'm not who I was. I am not who I'll be, but I'm walking and honest and learning I'm free. There's no shame in healing, no shame in the climb, just a heart getting stronger, one day at a time. If you're trying to recover, or even just quietly wondering if you can, I want you to know something from my heart. You're not broken beyond repair. You're not too far gone. You're not disqualified. You're a human being who's been carrying more than anyone can see, and you deserve a chance to breathe again. If you're scared, that's okay. Most of us were scared when we started, but you don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't have to be strong all at once. Just be honest with yourself. Just be willing. And hear this part gently. God hasn't stepped away from you, not for a second, even if you feel numb, even if you feel ashamed, even if you feel like you've failed too many times. Grace still reaches for you. You're not walking this road alone. And if today is the day that you take a step forward towards help, I'm proud of you. If today is the day that you simply whisper, maybe I can change, I'm proud of you too. Recovery begins right here in the tiny spark of willingness, and God meets you in that moment with more love than you think you deserve or think is possible. I want to thank you for being here on Faith Between the Lines. You being here in this space matters, and I hope I met you right where you are. Your questions and comments are always welcome, and they can be left on YouTube and Buzzsprout. Always remember this: you are never walking alone.